everybody, Whitney Magnuson here, sharing 2 different ways to make a clouded sky look. So today I'm going to be using the stamp set Koala Friend, and this stamp set is super cute with different little koalas. We're going to use the one with the balloon for today. And then I have 2 different cardstocks here. One is just a regular 110-pound cardstock, and the other is a watercolor paper, and it's a Canson watercolor paper. And I went ahead and I just grabbed some scrap paper from my collection and I made my own DIY stencils. So I have these cloud dies in my collection and I just used 2 different ones to kind of create this DIY stencil with some scratch paper. So to start out with, we're going to be using the regular cardstock. So this is a 110-pound Nina cardstock and you can find it in our shop. I love it for stamping and coloring. It's really awesome. And I just ran that through my die cutting machine with a wonky stitch die from Jean Marie Designs. It is my favorite. So I'm going to be pulling out that koala from Koala Friends, and I'm just kind of playing around with the layout here. I really love that long sentiment, and I was hoping to use it, but I just felt like it kind of occupied too much space, and I want the koala and the clouded sky to kind of be the focal point right now. So I'm just kind of playing around, making sure that I like the alignment and that everything's going to fit where I'm having it. And I'm just going to ink this up with Gina K Designs Amalgam ink, and this is in the color Obsidian. This is a hybrid ink, and I am going to be using some Copic colors, and so this is compatible with Copics. So now I'm just going to pull that stamp panel out of there, and we're going to go ahead and grab some Gina K Designs Masking Magic. This is a really awesome masking paper, and I already have a chunk that's kind of pre-cut, ready to go, and I'm just going to toss that right inside of the MISTI, and I usually just use the 2nd generation, the extra ink on there to kind of ink it up. It doesn't need to be that dark, for me anyways. And we're just going to go ahead and fussy cut out that mask, and so I'm going to fussy cut out the koala and the balloon. The string part I'm not going to worry about. Since we already have it stamped down on the paper, I think that the string will be fine. So now I'm just going to be adding some simple Copic coloring. I am using a couple of grays here, a lighter and a darker. I'm just starting with that lighter and going all over, and then I'm going to go in with the darker gray, just kind of around the edges, and add in some of that shading. And then of course I'm going to take RV11, it's just a light pink for the ears, add a little bit of blush on the cheeks, and then of course the balloon. I just wanted to keep it really simple and fun. So on the balloon here, I'm just finishing up that coloring. I'm adding a little bit of a darker hue for some shading with a darker pink. And then I'm going to go back in with that original pink color. Usually if I'm adding some variation of colors, I just grab 2 similar colors and kind of do blending, something like this, just keeping it pretty simple. So now we can go ahead and take the backing off of our mask we created and put it right over the top of that cute little image we already have colored up and ready to go. Once you have your mask in place, you are ready for this first technique, which involves some ink blending. So I'm going to grab that DIY stencil that I made. If you have a cloud stencil, that would work just fine. This is just my method. And I'm going to be grabbing my Gina K Designs Sea Glass ink pad. I love this color for the sky. And then just a little picket fence blending brush. And I'm just going right along the edge of this little DIY stencil to create a clouded design. And you'll notice that throughout this, this part, I'm kind of flipping that stencil around a bunch, and it's just to kind of variate the look of the cloud so it doesn't look all the same. And so I'm just going down and filling the whole card front with this clouded detail. So now, kind of like a finishing touch on this card, I thought it would be kind of fun to just finish off the edges with a little bit of ink blending with the same color. I love how that stitched design kind of pulls the color into it. So there is our final look. We can go ahead and peel that mask off, and we are going to save that same mask for our other panel too. So we'll just set it aside and it will be all good to go. So now we're going to be moving on to our watercolor panel, and we're going to do pretty much the same layout. I wanted to keep it the same layout, the same type of products and things like that, so you guys could grab all these products and the stamp set and create a couple different looks. So for this one, I am using the VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink, but you don't have to use it. You can use the amalgam ink if you want. I really prefer the VersaFine Clair on watercolor paper. It just comes out really, really bold. So we're going to take that mask that we set aside, and we're going to just put it right over the top of that koala. So once we have our mask in place, this is a really simple method of kind of doing a clouded sky background. We are going to just take a spray bottle. I'm doing just a light little spritz of water over the top of that. And then I have a little acrylic block and my Gina K Sea Glass ink, which is the same ink we used for that cloud ink blending. And I'm just kind of smooshing it on the block. And then I'm going to take my water, add a little bit of water to it, and then smoosh it right on the cardstock. And this is going to give a unique look every time you smoosh it down, and the water on the watercolor paper already will kind of let that color move around a little bit more, and you're able to play with it. So the key here to getting kind of a textured and layered look is to do this in layers. And so I went ahead and I did one layer, I dried it, and I went back in and repeated the process with the second layer and dried it, and now I'm taking that mask off. So you can just see the texture that adds, kind of doing it in layers. So I'm just going to do some pretty simple watercolor here. So I'm using my Zig Clean Color markers, and the method that I like to use for them is I just kind of add the pigment around the edges, and then I grab a paintbrush with water and kind of pull that pigment in to the image and blend it out. So I'm just using a gray and a pink, and you really don't need a lot of pigment when you are using these markers. So once we have it all watercolored up, we're going to take some Ink on 3 liquid pixie dust, and I'm going to be doing the same exact thing to my other card. I'm going to be adding some of this sparkle to the other card as well. So what I'm doing is I'm just taking a drop of that liquid pixie dust, I'm watering it down with my paintbrush, and then I'm just going to color it over the top of the balloons, just to give it a little bit of shimmer and shine. So we're going to be matting both of these card fronts on this Gina K cardstock, and I believe it is the color Sea Glass. So just kind of some sort of coordinating cardstock I think would look great. And then I wanted to add a little bit of dimension to this card front, and so I just popped this up on my A2 card with some foam tape. And I went ahead and stamped out the "You Are a Quality Friend" from the same stamp set, and I stamped that out and then kind of die cut it out with a banner, and we're going to pop that up with some foam tape as well. So here is what this card is looking like. Finishing touches, I just went ahead and added some moonshine confetti sequins with my Gina K Connect glue to both cards. And here you can see the one with the clouded background, kind of detailed. And then here's the one that we just created with our ink smooshing background. Both methods are super fun. I would love to see what you guys create. If you create this, go ahead and share it with us on the Unity Show and Tell. Thanks for watching.